Usually announce the day and that we're here to start the voucher portion of
For this portion of it as well. Okay.
it. At least for the recording.
Okay. Harney County Court Session, January 4th, 2023, Wednesday. Start off with the bill payment. Authorize their vouchers.
There wasn't very many today. Which one to do?
You guys are just going over the AP, right?
Mm-hmm.
I attempted to get all the signature cards for the bank accounts today, but one of the banks is not prepared.
Oh,
But I do have the most important, so I was gonna add that to the file. And actually, it looks like only the clerk has to sign, because everything
I
else
was
is
gonna say,
previously signed.
we should be fine.
I went in and created my account in the Connect system.
I saw that actually today. When I logged in, I was like, oh, because it creates a second preview of the day's activity and it has your name under it, and then it has my name under it. I was like, oh, because nobody's ever.
It sent me a prompt to create it, so.
So what is the connect? do?
It's log into the Oregon State Treasury account, and so. I just set you up with, so you can go in and look and. Probably more than you looked at. So this is for our US bank account, and so we're gonna leave. Myself, and the commissioners also signers. But I was thinking from title, email, and whatever your signature would be on the checks. And Tammy let me know that you wanting your signature stamp, which I
Yeah.
use one as well, so I will.
Is that a signature block stamp or the actual, it's not the signature itself?
It is.
Okay. I was just looking for just a stamp from the signature block. You know, like when you have a document that doesn't have your signature block, printed name and all that stuff.
Okay.
I was just gonna order one of those. off
Oh,
Quill or whatever.
okay, so she misunderstood, I think, my signature stamp,
Yeah,
okay.
just the signature block with your printed name and title and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff. The documents that don't have anything on it, stamp it and sign.
Okay, yeah, we can order one of those from that. Would you like a actual signature stamp? I use one. The previous judge preferred to physically sign.
Yeah, maybe later on, but
Okay.
now.
He wants to wait till he has writer's cramp.
Huh?
He wants to wait till he has writer's cramp.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
You guys getting it all set up?
I think so.
Good. I'll come back later and talk with you, Bill. I just had a few questions for you.
Okay, we have county court through about noon.
Okay.
And then. Sorry, I keep moving.
That's right. I
And
didn't go
then
anywhere without the coffee.
this is, because we have what's basically government banking through US Bank, we have to have two of us as contract signers, which was myself and Pete, so then. This is for that piece of it.
Lines aren't big enough for.
I know.
Bobby Joe, this might be a question for you. So on this top one, what was going on with that? With the correction?
So yesterday when we talked, it was a piece that And then this last piece is for, the online piece of it, so it'll, if need be, like if I get hit by a bus, your bag would have access.
We have a lot of buses.
This is a piece that was paid from the OEM budget that,
Should have came out of somewhere else.
yeah, and so we transferred it to
The
911.
911.
And I think I had a note in here where
Yeah, and I
email
saw it said-
correspondence with
Oh,
the sheriff,
okay,
and
maybe I hadn't made it.
that's okay, and Suzanne, that he agreed that yes, it could be.
That it
paid
was-
from-
But when it was originally processed, who should have
when it was-
processed it?
That I don't know, and I might, if we look in there, I might have a copy of the original bill to see who. Thank you, that's all I got today so far.
Oh, so it was for the emergency.
Yeah. So she submitted it.
So she did. Okay.
So I think that was a way to kind of bring some revenue to the budget and review it. And they released on Oregon stuff. She said by the end of the day, so I'll just catch you all. And then
We'll
see
be
you
back
this
at
summer.
1:30 for a executive session if you have it by then. But
No, she told me by the end of the day.
okay.
So maybe I'll email her and say, I need it by 1:30. That would be better.
If it works, if not,
It'd just be nice to have
Or
her
when
with
we're,
them.
when we're done with that session, I'll just check with you real quick, I can see if you have it.
Okay, perfect. It's just too. I can set it. Like, right off and you can- I just- I got it. I felt bad. It was hard.
oh, that was yesterday. I was just ready to. I guess I was. So the alerts and you're aware of what it is used for. Sending an emergency
Text messages.
I was always under the impression that the state paid for that. I didn't realize that we do have a subscription fee to it. So
To
that's
which,
just
to which
something-
alert?
to Alert Sense. And I thought that we'd went away from Alert Sense and went to the Everbright with the state, and so. I guess my question would be. If it's good through June. According to this invoice, are we going to be renewing it, or are we going to be totally converted over to the state system? And does the state system have any fee to it versus this, or is she still planning on using this? Because if so, then if it's going to come out of the sheriff's department budget as you're seeing this document, then it needs to be a known in the budget process, because it does take a chunk out of their budget.
I will, ask her about the status on this.
Because she'd originally submitted it under her OEM grant, but if she's trying to find more dollars to put back in that grant, this is one of those things she's moved over to
How
the
much was the amount, Kristen?
34.
Jeremy mentioned to me yesterday that we'll be getting cell phones,
Yeah, I know I'd originally asked for it quite some time ago.
which I would prefer.
Who's got them?
Okay.
He's.
Yeah.
that he's gonna get them to me today, so I don't know where I mean, he's got him in there. I don't know
Go
the
check
status
with
of
him.
I think they second it.
Let me go ahead and look at that page, and I'll go with this.
Right, this is the one that's mentioned here. This will take the wireless emergency alert and the public alert warnings. I don't know if that's different than alert sense.
Well, the other one you have to register through Everbright for, and it's through OEM at the state. But prior to that, we had only had alert sense that we were using.
I get notifications on things like high winds and stuff like that. Is that,
That should be through the OEM.
okay? I'm getting those, I guess.
Good job.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like,
How are
how is it
you?
you're all lined up here? Do you have a meeting today?
Yes, it's county court day. Ah,
Listen, group is charges that are,
being corrected. These are kind of corrections that are made.
they see all these credits.
Yeah, where things got usually invoiced to the wrong vendor. And so it's being corrected. This will go with the rest of that.
Part of this too.
I'll go ahead and say this.
Part of this one.
Yeah.
All the same package.
Yep, that was all. It's really big, but.
Nice. Why does it say December 23rd? It was December 21st. I've just noticed that label
I guess
there
I
is
hadn't thought about that.
wrong. It's correct on this, but it's wrong on the link, the title of the link. Yes. Just noticed that. It's a typo.
It's the same.
On the actual agendas is the 23rd for the minutes. and
On
it
the
was
link,
21st.
if you look at the link, it says December 23rd, but the actual written minutes are correct.
So, Rick, are you gonna be providing any updates in public comment about the Rimrock? Rimrock, is there any?
Did have results.
Oh,
I know I do have a question.
We were just in bill paying. No.
Hello.
You're good. How are you?
I'm trying to hide.
Absolutely.
Right after public comment. We can either do this. We can do this. I don't know. I've never seen them really in advance. I don't know.
you don't look overwhelmed yet.
I don't have the deer in the headlight look.
So as I noticed. With her, and she knows them. It would be.
Yes. Under new business.
It could be. Otherwise, sometimes you forget them totally in the meetings. Okay. You'll know your cue.
The track story.
How many good things to throw, so I need my pen.
I'm just gonna start with any questions and then.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Is there something to make it project,
What's that?
or do you wait? To make it
So you
project?
have to go into your camera settings, connect to the camera. I vaguely remember the
Oh, for this projection?
yeah, to get it.
Yeah, I asked Jeremy about it.
Oh. Which sometimes when it's not on the agenda, somebody.
And then on the other side.
But you're between the two better. Been there before the rain.
Yes.
Nice.
We just started.
So like from your house, you go from one road back your house, you go.
Yes. There's my house. It's easy directions.
Somewhere down in.
Don't worry, you're you can run right back. Jesus, me, I was telling people that home. 2 or 3 turns. And just usually,
Yeah.
and the circle's getting lost. Oh. You turned around.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I always get the sense of that, like, I'm always like, in my brain, I think I need to go this way, but it's always like, oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Just. put it down.
It's good to hear.
You're good company. Yeah. I think you're going all the way. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, something there. Sometimes too, like we'll transpose like. Different remote. Like other cities have the same.
Probably the thing that-
Yeah.
Is it on?
He uses one of those original sites. Big weight, never.
I don't know anything. I just know I don't know. Whatever.
Where's the idea? He's not in there, I just texted him. He's probably working on a phone somewhere in the building. But now that.
That was right.
Yes.
You sent me a text.
Yes, I haven't had a response yet.
All right.
You wanna come in?
It's 10:30. We'll get started. County courts in session at 10:30. January 4th, Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. You'll join us with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This one?
Yeah.
I got
We
it
have
over here.
the
Oh,
remote,
okay.
so
Sorry, turn on.
we don't know.
My first day.
You can only use that
We
today.
only ever let Pete mess with it.
And then it turns on,
Something is,
go down, may have to,
And videos.
no, I wouldn't end it, so I would minimize your screen. Oh,
If you're just looking for the bar, if you go clear down. to the
oh,
bottom,
it's
it
there, yeah,
pops
so,
up.
so the very right one, the square.
This one here?
Yeah. Then go to expand, it's not right there. Should say connect, one of those.
Yeah, behind you.
Yeah.
Go back here. When you get the back of your head, you're loud.
And it's sort of yours, it's moved up.
That's why I said back here.
Yes.
I didn't know it was the white flag.
Thank you.
That should just pick up. There it is.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
There you go. You're the one that gets it. No, someone over here.
All right. Agenda items, first agenda approve, agenda. I'll make a change in the agenda for new business to add service awards.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
I second.
A motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I got a script.
Good. You'll need it.
Okay. Next item, minutes approval from the December 21, 2022 county court meeting.
I move to approve the Harney County Court meeting minutes of December 21st, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve minutes from Harney County Court meeting December 21st, 2022. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And motion carried. Next item is public comment, opportunity for public comment. Anybody wish to address the board this morning? Court recognizes
Rick Paul, as I represent you on the Southeast Transportation Committee, it is coming up for a meeting on the 12th before your next meeting. I don't have an agenda yet, but if you have any questions or comments you want me to make on behalf of the county on the 12th, give them to me before the 11th, please. So any questions you have on that, I would be glad to help.
Was that something that you and Pete had been traveling to together prior, or did you go alone? I know you just got appointed not too
I
long
have,
ago.
since the appointment, I have been doing Zoom on them,
Okay.
except the first one, which was here that we hosted. I did attend it. But other than that, I have been doing via Zoom.
I had been contacted about the upcoming meeting next week and was planning on attending myself, if you'd like
Okay.
to go with me. And I do have an agenda. They sent me an agenda this morning, I believe it was for it.
Okay, I didn't look this morning, so I could have read that one.
Okay, I just figured it would be good to go meet some people face to face and whatnot, so I was planning on attending. Didn't have
Okay.
anything on my schedule for that day, so.
Leaving at 8.
It starts at 10, depending on what roads are like, probably 8:30 at least.
Okay,
It's at the airport.
okay, meet you here.
All right. Anyone else?
Go ahead. Ryan Bailey, Harney County Economic Development. Introduce our newest employee, Kim. See if you can touch yourself, Kim.
Now, some of you, my name's Kim Needham, and I was thinking yesterday, so. Here to observe and try to catch on.
So we're same thing, second day for each one of us. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And look forward to working with you. Mr. Smith.
And there's a CRT meeting tonight, so we'll
Yeah.
see you then.
Anyone else? Okay, next item is old business, in which we don't have anything under old business today. And new business, start off as I added the service awards, recognize Becky Bates for 5 years of service. And then Kelly Singhose for 5 years of service. I've stated many times to other people before, public service and just service in general is very important to me. My whole life has been that way, so I appreciate other people's public service, and 5-year awards are Well earned, I'm sure. Next item is, OSU Extension, Dr. Ivory Lyles.
That's us.
That's you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not Dr. Ivory Lyle. I'm Natalie Kenyon, and I'm the Eastern Regional Director for Extension and Engagement. And Dr. Ivory Lyles was a part of this Southwest Airlines airport fiasco.
Oh.
So we spent the night in the Houston airport, and as of last night was somewhere on a delayed flight between Sacramento and Portland, and not happy about it, but he sends his condolences. He is very sorry he couldn't be here. He is going to reschedule to come and meet the county court. This is the last county in the state that he needs to come and meet and see. And so, yeah, he will be getting that done. Now, you know, we're open again to like, when would be a good time, a better time to come? So he is sorry, and wanted to make sure that you knew that he is sorry he is not here. Second, he wanted to say thank you to Commissioner Doro and Commissioner Shellman. This last year, we have had turnover in our office and been through a ringer. And so thank you guys so much for your support for me and for him and for our extension office, because I don't think we would have made it through without you and without all of the talk and time that you spent on helping to get us rebuilt. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Clay. If you have not met him yet, he is our office manager. He's also our local liaison, so you'll probably see him at many commissioner meetings, and he will interact with the regional director. So I have been overseeing Harney, but as of January 1, we're passing the baton to Jamie Davis. So she is our Southern Regional Director, and she lives actually in Lakeview, and will be taking on Harney County in her oversight as well. These are just OSU administrative regions. They aren't, you should see no difference other than it won't be me, it'll be Jamie. And then lastly, our newest employee, Christine Stokely, she came on board in October, but got here in December, and is our 4-H and family community health educator for Harney County. So she is just in the midst of learning everybody and starting her needs assessment and listening sessions. So last night we had a listening session, and this morning we did, and then she will continue on that journey to learn about like what do we need here in Harney County for youth and for families. And let me go back to my little notes that I sent. Oh, and welcome, Bill. Congratulations on your judge, and we are glad to be a part of your first official commissioner meeting, the extension service. And so, yeah, we're very interested in what we can do to better serve Harney, not just in 4-H, which was a big part of our office before, but also in ag, natural resources, everything, economic development, however we can help and connect. So
You bet. We're all partners in the same mission, and 4-H, very valuable program. Look forward to working with you.
excellent. Yes, we're excited to have people back in the office and be building again. Also, speaking of the extension office, thank you to the county for our physical improvements. I don't know if you got to see it prior to COVID, maybe you missed out. We now have matching carpet with you. We have pretty new light blue walls. We have a lot less filing cabinets, and we are excited to like be back in a space that's usable. And a big huge thank you to Clay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks great.
Yeah. You should have a side gig organized. Maybe. Yeah, like the home edit meets Harney County. Yeah, so thank you so much. We have a lovely new and improved space, and that was the county redoing, overhauling the office downstairs, and so we are grateful for that. And then lastly, we can't do what we do without the financial partnership. We're part of your general budget line item, and so we are grateful for that, to be able to do what we do. The county pays for our offices and also supports our administrative support, and then we pay for the faculty support who come in. And so in that partnership, we're better able to serve Harney County. And then maybe I'll turn over to Jamie. I'm springing this on you, but the last thing also with financial support is just to give you a heads up of our legislative ask.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look
Sure,
it up.
absolutely. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here today. Seems like we both had this first start date in Harney County effective January 1st, and I'm excited for this opportunity. So one of the things, as Natalie had mentioned, is that as we go into legislative session, one of the things that we are asking for is the OSU statewide, which includes the extension service, experiment stations such as the one here, and our forestry laboratories across the state, is we are asking for in a legislative during a legislative session, our continuing service level that hasn't been offered the last couple of years. And so you'll see that we've had attrition across the state with a lot of our faculty positions and retirements, but we haven't been able to replace those positions at the same level. Those have been vacancies, essentially because of the rising cost of OPE and other things like that. And so this next year, we're making an ask for not only just our continuing service level, the CSL, but also to create backfill of the positions that have been vacated, as well as build on our program there. So that is something we're very passionate about. So if you speak with other legislators, our representatives and senators, to share about the work that we're doing in extension and the growth that we would like to, we would definitely appreciate your service in that too. And we're working with other advisory community members across the state in order to be successful with that ask this next year.
Yeah, and it's a $50 million ask, and it is a bill. And there were multiple legislators who said they signed on, but because it's politics, I am not sure who the official champion will be. And I think also that we don't know who the governor would be. So I'm not sure who all will be. It's typically a joint, a Republican and a Democrat who both jointly champion the bill. I'm just not sure who officially gets the bill, but we typically have a lot of signatures from across the state. So yeah, we're looking for good champions to hopefully help us get that support.
So when you have a bill number, let us know.
Well, yes, yeah.
Yeah, not yet.
So what questions do you have for us?
Within that bill, I'd heard that there was some expansion in kind of human health services. Is that correct?
Yes. So there's different initiatives within it. So there's an urban initiative. There's also a rural initiative. And on the health services, it's more looking at like mental health and wellness. We've had a huge increase in suicide. And actually, even in farming and ranching communities, we've seen an uptick in service law enforcement suicides as well as ranching suicides, especially felt out in the eastern region. We've had a number of them in the last year and a half. And so looking at like, what are better ways that we can reach communities who aren't typically going to be maybe responsive to like, come down, let's talk about your mental health. It's not like a cultural norm. And so looking at like, how can we intervene with people that they already know and trust, and extension being a place that they go to trust the livelihoods of their farm ranch business, that like, maybe there's something that we can do better because we do have family community health educators. And so how can we network with them in communities where they're already known and trusted to maybe better build up. It depends on like what the need is, whether it's education, whether it's prevention, whether it's responding to somebody in crisis or after a suicide has occurred. So like that I know is that's built in. It's like, how do we ramp up and provide more funding to provide more supports and maybe even more people in supports, multi-county region, like a multi-county area. Maybe we don't have one to go for every one-on-one for every county, but at least to be able to better provide supports. Yeah, we've worked with cattlemen's. I don't know if you listen to the podcast, but we had our family and community health state program leader was featured with Todd on the podcast about different supports and access that we currently have available, and we're looking to like build more in.
That was the only thing that I believe that I'd heard that was kind of an addition in service level that was going to be asked. Obviously, you're trying to recoup some jobs that have been left vacant.
Yeah, but then also, yeah,
But that was was that the only one that you're aware of that was kind of an additional piece?
No, there's several more ag positions. We're looking to like, I don't want to say vacancies, because some of them, like Grant County, hasn't had an ag full-time ag person since 2017, or maybe even before that actually. So like we're looking at counties like that who have nobody and not an experiment station, and like so looking at ag positions that need to be filled. where they've been vacant and then there's not funding to currently support that. So that's another big ask. I know around water, we've asked for many positions around water because the water issues in Oregon are rising and we don't have enough expertise to support the need right now.
Sustainable food systems.
Sustainable food systems is another big ask, food access and some. I pay attention to the ones that are the east that are initiatives I am not so. up on. Yeah, same with Southern. So there is an urban initiative. I can email you afterwards, like the list of what it will cover. And I know like we'll be releasing that with our advisory boards and with extensions, community advisory network. And we also send out to commissioners and judges our monthly report, and that will have the details of legislative ask. We also don't want it, we don't really want it to appear like level 1 funding, level 2 and level 3, so that it looks like we just give them, you know, we're looking like we like all of it so we can better support all of work in. So, yeah. I'll follow up with that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
4-H Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
So the 4-H Leaders Association has been meeting and active.
Yeah.
How do you feel that that's going?
I think it's going great. I've been to 2 in-person meetings so far and then contact with several of the other, members on a continuing basis. And, poor Tina, I think has been shouldering the whole shebang. So we've talked extensively about alleviating a lot of that pressure and trying to spread things out just a little bit, but most importantly, rebuild and re-strengthen the program and expanding it. On January 21st in the afternoon, we're going to have an idea fair. And I'm looking at that may expand into something even greater in the future, I'm hoping. So that will give us an idea and create buzz and get a little more influx of the community into what 4-H is and an involvement in it. But yeah, the meetings have been going great. A lot of brainstorming, ideas and planning and different things like that. So I'm excited.
When was the tax ID situation ever resolved at this point?
Go ahead.
We are working.
Has it had any progress?
Yeah.
The state office is now assisting the 4-H association with the reports that they need to file and getting them back into good status with the state.
And it's the state office of 4-H, but also the state 4-H Foundation is who actually umbrellas over the EIN for the local association. So those two have state people now working with you guys, but also Dr. Macy to
Excellent.
make sure that we're finally getting that.
Well, and I did introduce myself to the one woman that's the head of the foundation.
Oh, yes, and the foundation, I mean, also had like a turnover, so now, but the new person is dynamite, like.
Yeah, and she said, all I had to say was Harney, I'm from Harney County. Okay, yes, we're gonna put that together. Okay, thank you.
It's been lingering. So.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good news.
Yeah. That's all we have.
Well, we will miss working with you. We look forward to working with Jamie though.
Yes, I'll still come back for big events if I'm invited.
We still have your number.
Yeah, you know where to find me. Well, thank you and good luck. And yeah, we look forward to keep working with you.
Thanks for coming today, and yeah, we look forward to hearing from you again in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll head back downstairs for open house. We have donuts. We need treats.
Heck, you stayed.
Next item, under new business. We have annual orders for budget officer, health officer appointment, Justice of the Peace Pro Tem, medical examiner appointment, and official newspaper designation.
I'd like to make a motion for court order in the matter of appointing a county budget officer for the fiscal year of 2023-2024. For Judge William Hart to become the budget officer for Harney County.
I second.
Motion to appoint Judge Hart as county budget officer for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Any further discussion?
Congratulations.
Now the real fun begins.
And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion for the court order in the matter of appointing a county health officer for the year 2023. The appointment of county health officer would be Sarah Leosa, D.O.
I second.
And there's been a motion to appoint Dr. Leosa, D.O. as the county health officer for Harney County for the calendar year of 2023. Any further discussion? And all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion for the court order in the matter of appointment of the Harney County Justice of Peace Pro Tempore for 2023. Let's see. For Judge Kathy Stinnett and John Lamborn to serve in those capacities.
I second.
The motion's been received and seconded for the appointment of Harney County Justice Court Pro Tem, Justice of the Peace for Judge Kathy Stinnett and John Lamborn for the calendar year of 2023. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Looks like, was there a question?
I'd like to know, just for the record, what that position is supposed to do.
Basically, they fill in if our justice of the peace is away or unable to perform or vacated. It's a temporary,
It's a backup.
yeah, it's a backup.
I'd like to make a motion in court order in the matter of appointment of a medical examiner for the year 2023 for Dr. Sarah Leosa, D.O. to fill that position for Harney County.
I second.
And a motion has been received and seconded to appoint Dr. Leosa, D.O. as the Harney County Medical Examiner for the calendar year 2023. Any further discussion? And all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion in the court order in the matter of designating an official county newspaper for the year 2023. It will be the Burns Times Herald, our local weekly newspaper.
I second.
And a motion has been seconded to designate Burns Times Herald as the county official newspaper for the calendar year of 2023. Any further discussion? And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, I think you're supposed to verbally vote yourself.
Am I? I was reading something. I
Oh,
thought
not?
as the judge or the chair that you're a tiebreaker.
I have not, all these
I've seen
years,
it
I have
done both
not,
ways.
we have not been doing that. That's Chris.
I've seen it done both ways. That's Paul doesn't either in our EOCA meetings.
What?
if you've
Just let me
noticed.
know. I was just, that was a change I hadn't been
Okay.
aware of.
I'll
That's
research-
today.
I'll research it further. In the meantime,
Don't you want to be on record of supporting things?
We already have voted.
Just interesting.
It's fine.
No dumb questions, right?
no, absolutely not. And the last item under new business is resolution 2023-01, general funds transfer from it's general fund 101-5015445 capital outlay of $250,000 to materials and supplies. General fund 101-5-0153-405. And the funds in capital outlay were originally or had been scheduled for capital outlay improvements, purchases that have already been purchased with other funds, so those funds aren't needed in that line item anymore. And expenses in materials and supplies is going to exceed, it looks like, so transfer of those funds into the materials and supplies line item.
I'd make a motion for resolution 2023-01 in the matter of interfund transfer of appropriations within categories for general fund grants 101-015 in the amount of increase in materials and supplies of 250,000 and a decrease in capital outlay of 250,000.
A second.
Received a motion, has been seconded for resolution 2023-01 general funds grant 101-015 transfer to appropriations from capital outlay to materials and supplies. Any further discussion?
I just question, what was the, we don't see this too often, was there, was that grant related, and is the grant still gonna be okay?
It's,
You know,
the day wireless equipment, there was more supplies purchased under that grant, and so I think we'll have a discussion later about that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
that sounds,
And opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then. Next item is. Public water notices.
These are the state water notices that come out weekly.
And I had some discussion yesterday on these, that there's not really a role. For the court in these, it's just informational in nature. That, we may look at. Creating a repository somewhere for these to be placed so that they can just be referenced and take it off of the standing item off of the county court agenda.
And should we, when we look at these in the repository, start to have a question or actually have a question, then we would go ahead and raise it in public discussion, such as, gee, we haven't had any for 3 weeks, or, oh, all of a sudden we're getting all these certificates approved and, we were surprised or whatever. We would have that public comment and deliberation if we're noticing anything different than what we should expect from the state at this point. I think that's fine.
So for January 18th, the next county court meeting, is that fine then? I'll find some way, someplace to store this so that it's retrievable. And we'll take it off the agenda for next time.
Yeah.
Are you currently just getting an email with them? Or is staff going and searching them out each?
Carrie was getting that emailed every week. I
Okay.
had that changed. I'm getting them now.
Okay.
So
Now-
once got an assistant, we'll change it over to her, I guess.
Is the Harney County Town Cloud a place where you could have such
This
things?
is on a state database. I don't know that we need to.
It might be even just as simple as providing a link
That's
where in that link would direct anybody who's interested to this information.
Yeah, and that could be on our
And if
website.
it's the same link each time to the state site, that would be easy to add to the website. We could check it out.
Lost it.
If you want to forward that to me, Susan, I would take a look and see what it looks like on the state side and kind of,
I don't know if I'll be able to, but if you come to my desk, we'll show you.
Okay.
How's that?
no, that would work.
Okay. They'll go like a forwarded or not.
Like say, we look on their end, a lot of their links are pretty easy to just attach.
All right, next item is correspondence. I don't have any correspondence myself.
And I would just request throughout the year, if you get correspondence that is addressed to the county court, just make sure we're also getting it.
Absolutely.
Either we don't get a whole lot addressed that way, or we weren't getting them before, and it just seems like occasionally there would be something addressed that.
Yeah. Under general discussion, I kind of wanted to have that topic of
Okay,
the court and our interaction.
sounds good. Appreciate that.
Next item is executive session, but if we rearrange this and put it to come back at 1:30. Can we go ahead with the other items, the scheduling and whatnot?
I think so.
Scheduling, meeting schedules, regular court dates. Next meeting will be January 18th, 2023, 10 a.m. And February 1st, 2023 at 10 a.m. February 15th, 2023 at 10 a.m.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question just in terms of general meeting policy? And I'm sorry, I've missed several meetings in the last year. So the last meeting I came to public comment, we were supposed to submit things before the county court meeting, and now we're having public comment just straight away. I don't know when that went back to that. I appreciate it, but I wasn't prepared. Because I thought we had to submit things ahead of time.
I believe, the public comment is general comment. If you have items of specificity.
Specificity.
Patty can always know it.
Then, and you'd like to request to be on the agenda and then provide those items beforehand, so the court has a chance to review them and research and whatnot, and then we could discuss them more in depth that way.
Yeah, because last time you were here, Barb, it was a specific topic that you wanted to share with the court, so you did need to provide it beforehand and get on the agenda. It wasn't just a general comment, so yours was more than just public comment, yours was an actual agenda item.
Okay. And then I noticed you're going back to 10 o'clock rather than 10:30.
10's when we pay bills, 10:30 is when our regular meeting starts. So we're all present as a quorum at 10.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Anything else on that?
No, not, if you want to have general deliberations before we adjourn or recess,
Yeah,
we can
I
do
was-
that too, whatever you think.
Going to that next.
Okay,
If we're open to it, I'm open to it. We got an hour, so not quite an hour, but I think we can cover that and get it taken care of.
so we've talked about the fact that general deliberations is our opportunity to update each other on the committees and things we're on. Ask each other if they've been hearing the same thing we're hearing, some really good discussion that's just, open to the public to view if they want to watch.
I view it as our opportunity to discuss just general topics, no decision-making things, but and open up transparency more for the public is what we're talking about, what we're doing. I've got a couple of things that I wanted to address. One of them, and then again, this is just for discussion right now because we haven't had a chance to communicate about it prior. But elected officials compensation board. We have to do that every year, correct?
Yes,
Okay, I want to start moving on advertising for that.
I think we should, yes. That is one of those boards that we form annually, and it's supposed to have 5 to 7 or 3 to 3
3 to 5.
3 to
5.
5 members. And that's one of those things, at least the way we've been doing it the last few years. It only takes 2 or maybe 3 meetings at the most for them to come together, to get the information, to sit around the table, to study it, to think about it, and then they end up making a recommendation on the elected officials' salaries, basically. And they make that recommendation to the budget board.
As a part of the budget process.
Right, and it is a statute that we do this, and I think we've done it 3 years now, and after having gapped it for a number of years, not doing it. So there might not be much change from year to year if you're convening every year. It's when you don't convene for 10 years that there's a bigger recommendation sometimes. So I was gonna say, I know that there's vacancies on that one, which we need to convene, and then ongoing vacancies on some of the other committees. And good time to get people to see if they weren't aware there's some vacancies in some committees they may want to serve.
I actually had that as next. We're thinking right on the same page.
Sorry.
No, so I did that. I had that next is we have a vacancy on the fair board. And I believe there's still a vacancy on the NRAC for forest representative. So I was thinking,
And is there still one on the planning committee? Was there a? I think there might.
A long time ago, I heard Brandon said there was, but I don't.
We might check with Brandon on that. I believe that there had been
Planning Commission.
or one that was going off and not re-upping.
And I know that even these aren't necessarily directly county, but they're still county. The Watershed Council has openings. I mean, there's quite a
Which
few.
we're directly tied to, so if we're gonna advertise them, we might as well advertise.
yeah,
So that would be Karen Moon that we would check with to get that.
So in that endeavor.
Oh, and budget board also. Did I understand that one of our budget board members is completing their term? So
We have to advertise the position, even if they want. to
even if they get
reapply.
reappointed.
Okay.
Yeah, budget board.
To that end and to that purpose, I wanted to start reaching out a little bit more Facebook, social media to advertise on the county's webpage for under the employment section, just maybe a kind of a subcategory of volunteer positions or something. Just further outreach to get the word out further and try to elicit some more interest in those positions.
So who here on the county staff does the Facebook posts?
I don't know if Carrie did it before.
Dag and Pete, I believe, were the only two that had
Okay.
access.
Deanna did a
Doing
post for
that.
me the other day. So,
So just let us know what the process is. Sometimes.
It's knowing who to submit.
I like just put them on my own Facebook page when I write them, when I create them myself, like when I just feel like I don't think people know that county court's gonna be in Fields, or just general things. I don't do it a lot, but when I do, I'd be happy to send it to
yeah,
whoever so they could get on the county page.
the broader outreach, absolutely, whatever that is. I'd like to see our own web or Facebook page be used more, and maybe we'll get more viewership out of it by increasing the information that's on it.
Ideally, I'd like to just share what's on that to my page.
Yeah,
That's always easier.
But, yeah, I mean, that is one of the way people hear what's going on more than sometimes waiting for the newspaper to come out or our webpage.
Well, the
sometimes
newspaper's dates are sometimes
not at the right time.
challenging
Yeah.
to hit.
I am intending to get in touch with the radio and probably sign up for one of their 8:30 live sessions.
She'll love it.
Yeah. Before I do that, if there's any topics or anything that you would like me to address there, that I can speak as one voice for the county, please let me know.
We'll try to come up with something good
Yeah.
for it.
And I'm probably gonna send an email out countywide asking for the same kind of input, just to get, for what we've accomplished, what we're looking to do and everything else, so. I think that's all I had. I was going to, but I was gonna mention, Kim and her being hired with Greg Smith's Economic Development business, and but you're here, so that was taken care of. But again, congratulations.
And I guess along those lines, as far as county court members that do attend the CRT meetings, I know Judge Reynolds had always attended those prior. I did once in a blue moon. It doesn't tend to work with my schedule as much, so I think.
In the early years, I went all the time. I had a lot of things that I was part of, particularly on housing and stuff that fed into that. But over the years, I've enjoyed Zooming from the evening from home. However, as I learned last meeting, if I did want to project and say a few things, the technology was only that Deanna was the only one that, heard. And so I think my approach is, I care about it. Depends on if it evolves into something at times I will come. I will almost always Zoom in, because I always learn something, and I can do that. Particularly in the winter months, I tend to want to Zoom in from home, I'll be honest, because it's late and dark by the time it's over. But I'm coming tonight, and it's always different, it's a little different each time, and it's good. And the way the standard agenda that I saw today, where it has, the cities and the county, usually the county judge was the one that would, represent the county. But we're all welcome anytime, but I just do it because it relates to so much of, I look at the CRT meetings at this time, at least, as a place where, yes, it's called I don't know if it stands for Community Response Team, or there was also some, Community Revitalization, but whatever. Everything is connected.
Have to get changed.
You know,
if you want to
whether
stay
it's
converted.
housing and workforce and, building and rules and regulations and legislation coming up in the cities and the county. And it usually brings a good mix. And then we also learn from each other, because it only takes a few minutes to go around the table and they each say what's going on, and it kind of keeps us up to date with each other. And then when there's a real effort that we've decided to prioritize or focus on, then that can have more of the agenda time as needed. That's how it's been, but we're open to what people want or need, at any time.
I've been asked, we'll see how this works out or whatever, but I've been asked to chair it. So we'll see how that goes tonight and see if, if the body or if the consensus is if somebody, want to do something different, whatever. So, as of tonight, I guess anyway, I think I'm expected to chair it tonight. Tonight's, one of the main topics tonight is broadband for the Harney County. And I'd like to, in the future too, whatever, we'll talk about agendas for future meetings, but because I think it needs to refocus again a little bit since the last time of the housing, the joint effort in building the house. And that needs to continue. I think we need to make sure we have emphasis on that project or that program and whatnot. But I think it's also we can broaden out a little bit more and start to look for other opportunities to. That's all I have on my list.
We just got an email saying that there is a Board of Tax Appeal schedule coming up on March 8th. I am scheduled actually to do the training, so hopefully we can be up and ready for that. If you haven't finished the training, I suggest you get on one of their 4 options.
What was the date on that?
It's March 8th.
And is that the
So there's 2
the
petitions we've never had. Yeah, the BO
yeah,
PTA.
I've got the link for that. I'm scheduled to do a live link next week,
Yeah.
and there's 2
The end of the
online
month.
sessions as well.
Right, in the 6 years I've been on the court, this is the first time, so
Right.
we better study
I
up.
was like, oh.
It's a little complex at times.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear, what was that about?
The Board of Property Tax Appeals, when that needs to be convened, we are some of those who have roles on that, and
Very important.
thank you for mentioning that.
Just came, so.
I was gonna share briefly, just for general information, some of the Zoom meeting I was on this morning. I was one of Eastern Oregon County folks that was invited to a Zoom meeting by the governor-elect's transition team on homelessness and behavioral health. And it was only like an hour and 15-minute, way too short to really get going on it. But thought I'd just give you just a little data dump. I had gotten really good input from Harney County folks of the different sectors, and so I felt comfortable. But some of the counties that were represented in one way or another were Umatilla, Wallowa, Union, Baker, Harney, Grant, Wheeler Lake. I don't know if there was anybody else, and it wasn't like they were each represented by county commissioners. It varied. There were a couple county commissioners, there were housing authority people, there were behavioral health people. Kimberly Lindsay of Community Counseling Solutions was on it. Just various people, mayors of some of the other cities outside of Harney County. And a lot of these folks, particularly the cities, had gotten big grants to build housing, et cetera. And so they seem to be focusing on the construction of housing, but in my discussions with our people and we have a smaller population at this time, but it is growing, and it's a very complex issue, and that just building housing is not a way to help all the things that are happening with this crisis. And so some of the comments from others were they think a regional approach with different counties or entities partnering is good. Community Counseling Solutions, which does behavioral health related stuff and disabilities, developmental disabilities and other things. Apparently, that entity has grown and now does that work as the provider for 5 counties. It's really grown. Lake, I didn't know, Grant, Wheeler, Umatilla now, and some of their entities from those counties were singing the praise of how well it's working for them. Just interesting. Some of the entities are, they're building housing on a lot right near their health clinic. They think that's going to help. They'd like to work on prevention, eviction prevention, and things like that. It was all super expensive stuff to undertake, though. I've got to tell you, with no end in sight. So to me, I was doing more listening. I shared some of the stuff, but there wasn't enough time, and it wasn't the forum to get into all the things that I learned in talking to our people.
Are they gonna have follow-up? Is this gonna be a recurring?
When I left, I just said, this was a great first conversation. Please include me in the future ones. And I participate in the Association of Oregon Counties Health and Human Services Committee, and that's a big player there. What works best now, some of the folks on the call said flexible funding where the local decisions can impact how it's spent. Service providers themselves purchasing the homes and then providing them to their clients. Someone said that way they can control the door, so to speak, to who is using the housing. There's mobile crisis resources in some counties. If we have one, I'm not that aware of it, but the comments there were that there's just not enough staffing and not enough full funding. So there's concerns around that as it being a resource that has greater expectations than it can actually carry out. Civil commitment of people who have mental health issues. Those laws, which of course have a lot to do with individual rights as well as, it's very complex legally, but Kimberly Lindsay was saying that imminent danger, such as they're about to jump off a bridge, that's a pretty high standard, and the rules are just too rigid in order to help people. These are big topics. Measure 110, everyone was very tactful. That's why I kept my mouth shut. But they said perhaps tweaks for some level to require some level of compulsory treatment, ultimatum, mandates, whatever you want to call it. Maybe not the first time, but if they are repeat criminal acts because of these things, you can't just suggest, here's a phone call, if you want to get treatment, call. There has to be a little bit more. That was not the topic they really wanted to engage in today, but those are the things that I know a lot of people here are very well aware are challenges. I mentioned in some of the brief things I said is that, we're very poor county as far as our money, and we're very far away, and we have needs for our more severely challenged people that the state and regional resources need to provide. That the state hospital, that's insufficient. Maybe there should be several state hospitals and they should be better suited to what we need. Maybe there's a lack of very many inpatient facilities, treatment facilities, and they're far away, and there's a waiting list, and it's just very hard for people to get that care. Maybe that's, rather than a bunch of housing, maybe that's more what's needed. And then some people in the chat, had comments about, well, at least if you can have shower facilities and storage facilities where they can put their stuff if they're homeless and while they try to get their act together. So it was barely wetting your whistle on it. It was just, but it was nice to see they had it. And there were only like maybe 20 people total on it. So it wasn't an overwhelmingly large Zoom call where nothing could be done. That's where that's at right now. And then on another topic, broadband. So I'll be coming to the CRT meeting and inform people that this is a really good time for Harney County to either on its own or in conjunction possibly with Malheur County, who Judge Joyce and I have a phone call scheduled for tomorrow to talk about, you know, his views on and how they're looking at it, to go ahead and form the broadband action team in the way that can go after and help form and plan for the engineering and the proposals and pursue the resources in the future. But now is the time. A lot of other counties already did that, you know, hired professionals, got it done. And a lot of them are very different from us also. And I believe with the remote areas, we're not talking so much in the populated areas, we're talking in the more frontier areas of these counties. That's going to be a very hard hybrid nut to crack and needs to be addressed. And, you know, the old comment of, oh, well, just tell everybody to get Starlink and then they'll be connected. Well, you know, the ups and downs of those companies and those billionaires and those services, and that's not the way to really plan. But there's a lot to come on that, but now is the time to see what people think and to go out for request for proposal for some professional support, I think. And that's what I'll help work on with community input. I think that's all I had.
Hey, the Fair Board met the other night. They did receive 3 responses to the RFP that was put out. They chose to leave it open until the 16th. Because there was a few other companies that through the county posting had said that they would like to participate but couldn't meet the 16th timeline. And so it's still open until the 16th. The Fair Board will be meeting that evening in the basement meeting room downstairs where it's a little warmer than the Memorial Building to review any of the proposals that come in. And then as they work through that, then they'll bring a recommendation forward to the county court. Harney County will likely be seeing some traction in the news over the Coyote Classic that's coming up the 13th through the 15th. I've been contacted by a news reporter that's going to be coming to town. As many of you know, the Wildlife Commission met over a coyote petition to ban all coyote contests. The petition was denied, but the commission did direct their staff to try to find a legal means to eliminate the coyote contest. And so this particular reporter is kind of wanting to do a segment on both sides of the story. And so we will see what comes of that. He's with the Central Oregon Daily News out of Bend. I'm sure it will be airing sometime soon. So this Harney County will be in the news once again. And then stuff with the BIC, there will be a BIC meeting this month. We're looking at reconvening the Grazing and Aquatics subcommittee to do a few adjustments to some of the public comment that we received during the public comment series that we had recently. And so we're continuing to work on that. They do have their Forest Service team together so that they can begin going through the desired conditions that the Blues Intergovernmental Council presented. So I'll just keep you posted as that moves forward.
A couple go backs then. One thing I forgot to mention, I have a lunch scheduled with city managers, Burns and Hines city managers for next week. Wanted to get on top of communications with the city and we've talked about making sure that we schedule from that point forward what kind of a regular routine we want to do that, but just to keep those lines open.
You can pick their brain on their view of housing. They may have stuff.
Yeah, housing, recycling, lots of different topics. It's a joint community topics.
Recycling, it might be good to have a meeting with those kind of entities and CNB and Rimrock and everybody and look at the questions for the survey. Is that what it's called? The survey?
I was gonna
And-
reach out to the,
And
what
make
was
sure
her
we-
name? The
Becky.
Becky. Or no, the lady from Bend, I believe she was, that came,
Oh, yeah.
the DEQ, I think she's,
DEQ,
yeah.
She used to run the hazardous waste committee.
yeah, I've got her email, contact and whatnot, on phone, but I was gonna reach out to her and kind of get a little more background and education and whatnot on this whole process with the survey and everything.
It's important to at least
So she
participate
knew
in
the
it,
decision.
or you won't have the opportunity for some funding later should your community decide to do stuff. So that's what I read somewhere, is that you at
Yeah.
least need to take the survey as a community, and whether it's we individually do it or
I'd
I-
rather not.
I'd rather be more informed before I mark any survey. I still don't know.
I think from that meeting that we had, they said that everybody should take it. The city should take the
Okay.
survey individually, the county should take it. And yes, if you don't take the survey, then you're gonna be,
And I think if we have a meeting and we talk about it, even though people don't have
Potentially
to
like that.
agree, at least there might be more similar responses that might better inform than just everybody just writes something different. You know, you write what you mean, but I don't imagine we would have too many differences on some of our goals or needs. I'm concerned about, I would like us to find what level of recycling makes sense for Harney County. I don't think it's going to be the same as places that are closer to where you take it. I mean, we've had issues, and then will we have options on which materials we can commit to recycling and wait and see how that goes before seeing if we have to do it all. Cardboard
there's
works.
a lot of new stuff coming out.
Yeah, and say a lot of that's coming out from the state and not going to be very individual. In '89, when we developed the original list, we gave each county the difference. It's embedded in law, 459A. Where Harney County only had to do motor oil and cardboard. As you got up into larger counties, there was newspaper, office paper, and those kind of. It appears, what I'm hearing and seeing and listening to on radio or on Zoom, that they're gonna put out a statewide list and not have any options for counties.
Have you discussed that with Mark or Lynn at all?
Pardon?
Have you discussed that with Mark or Lynn? At this
I
point?
have not discussed it at the moment because Mark was one of the group that agreed to have.
It'd be nice to know
This is.
what thinking was behind it, or
Well,
if there's
it
any
was- it was
exclusions.
the Recycling Act revision that they did last session. And they've gotten, DEQ has for some reason gotten right on. They seldom get right on anything. But they've gotten right on it and they have a very short time period. I think March, April, they have to have it out. And they've only been allowed to have 9 meetings. So it's a very short time period. We're gonna have it out. It's not going to, from their perspective, it's producer responsibility law. So if you produce it, you're gonna be responsible for recycling. The only problem in places like.
It's been very bad
County is that,
application.
you know,
Ugh.
I could see something like those tissues that we use like this, the plastic, reusable, supposedly plastic. You're not gonna gain 40,000 pounds of that to be able to market it. There's no place in this county that you could have that amount even aggregated, baled, weighted. It will be beyond all of our lifespans. Probably your kids, some of your kids will be beyond lifespan before you'd ever have 40,000 pounds.
We'll see if we put our heads together to find out what people say, and if we know cardboard is one that we do and can do, and C&B is part of that, and we can do that. Then if the state is really pushing plastics or whatever, then we say, in order for us to now add that, since you want us to add it, you have to provide this type of funding, because we cannot do it without this kind of funding, and see how bad they want it, because sometimes I don't think they even are you know, I pointed out the fact that plastics worldwide is not a recyclable industry that's got much future at this time. And they're like, no, we do. Hey, you know best, right? Don't put the burden on us.
I worked for those guys for a year. I couldn't take it after that. It's all controlled by the Virgin Plastic Recycling. So Chevron, Exxon, those guys all control the PET bottles that you have and those kinds of things. I don't know what this carpet is, but I suspect this carpet is basically pop bottles. Because it's not PET, is a pop bottle, is what is polypropylene and those kinds of things are what they go into that. We used to wear t-shirts that were polypropylenes, men particularly. Now we're basically back to cotton, but if those were milk jugs or those were pop bottles. Milk jugs are HDPE. They are a better product in the sense that they have more flexibility. They are in things like the bumpers for your cars and parking lots. Those that are plastic are made out of HDPE. A lot of them. The tops of coffee cans, plastic tops on coffee cans are made by Gage Industries in Lake Oswego. Is an HDPE. It's mouth jug essentially. So
Well, when
the
it comes
thing is,
down,
you can't mix those and then have them recycled.
and we have so many more additional mandates coming down that are not funded by the state, and our general fund is going to be reduced as the years go on, not just because of cost of living, but because of the Burns Urban Agents, Renewal Agency, et cetera. So we can't absorb cost to ourselves. Add this one, add all these things, and now, I mean, it's really hard for us to maintain.
That's why they call it a producer responsibility. It will not be our responsibility. It will be the Gage Industries and these guys putting in a pot. Funding is going to be in that pot, and the problem with the pot is going to be those of us who are in frontier counties are not going to have the strength to get that money out of that pot. That's where we're going to have to really fight. Because there's going to be money. Problem is, it's like the electronics. The electronics are funded by the state to collect. And they pay the transportation. You get 5 pallets of stuff. 6 pallets, you don't even have to have a full truckload. You can call the state and they will come and pick it up and pay 3 to 5 cents a ton. So that's going to be the model, what I understand.
Do you know if Rimrock, I don't want to get too much on a conversation here, but do they make enough money to function? I mean, I know they come to the county for the things that the county provides for them, but are they solvent?
Not without their volunteers.
Can I take a pass?
Yeah, more to talk about later. I mean, again, it's not pointing fingers at anyone, it's just like trying to be real about
It's
doing it.
they have about $2,600 in the bank. After 6 months of no employees. It's hard to find volunteers that are youthful.
He doesn't live here.
It went 3 weeks that I know of, and I don't know how much longer without anybody being able to operate a forklift and get stuff in because they were all 75 to 85 years of age and couldn't get out and maneuver and try to safely in the weather. They need to be finding a different business model that will help them find youth and or economics. We've got at least 2 loads cardboard sitting there. Let's see, by the 10th, we'll get a new price sheet. But November and December is 0 value. So it'll cost you $3,000 in trucking to get it out of
Okay.
there. thing as I look back through their history that has kept them solid is glass. And now glass is pretty well known where, and they don't collect it. It's hard to move, it's heavy. It's a 5-gallon drum barrel of like glass will go like 500 or 600 pounds. So it's like you said about the housing and health issue, very complex. It's not easy.
So, yeah, more discussion to come on all that.
Yeah. The whole DEQ thing. And recycling is gonna be- and garbage hauling. There, I haven't heard from ORA, but there's some differences. And we're talking to the cities, there might be some discussion about their franchise and not being open on weekends. Things like that, because that's a city issue, not a county issue. They're the ones that hold the franchise, we do not.
So in the very last item I wanted to bring up or whatever, as I kind of mentioned earlier, is, and this is not anything we've, written in stone, it's evolving, whatever, but, county court interaction and expectations. If you guys have any commissioners have any, how you'd like to see us operate different or try things differently or whatever, please. As you mentioned earlier, letters, any correspondence. I will make sure I get that out to you. I get things to you so that when we come to this element, the county court, that everybody can be more versed on topics to discuss. And
Yeah, having anybody that wanted on the agenda to provide documents prior. It's really helpful.
it would be, I think our agendas are finalized by Friday afternoons. Close of business Friday, is that when they're?
That's when they try to get everything submitted. Sometimes it's Monday before it's really finished getting put together.
You might want to try
It's
moving
how
it
it's been.
back up a day and just see, it's been a scramble the whole
Yeah.
time, more than, it seems like
It's fluid sometimes, but I think the less fluid we can make it
Yeah.
better.
I'd like to, myself, here we are on Wednesday morning, I'd like to see things finalized by Thursday, close of business Thursday or Friday. So the documentation, any supporting documentation that somebody that's on the agenda provides, then we have at least 2 days to read and review and research before the Wednesday meeting.
that'd be helpful.
And there's gonna be, being flexible, there's gonna be short notice things here and
Occasions.
there. But for main practice, I'm fine with Thursday afternoon if that's good with.
Yeah, for most things, anything that's short fuse, of course, we do what we need to do to accommodate.
And then I think too, as you get more acclimated to your office, if you can let us know how we can, help, and if you want things done differently too,
Absolutely.
compared to past practices, totally open to those conversations. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of weight in the office that you took on, and so there's ways that you want the commissioners to help differently. Please let us know, and we can have those conversations.
Had envisioned prior to taking office, there's a lot of in-depth topics, just like the homeless issue and the broadband issue and the recycling issues and natural resource issues. I'd like to kind of maybe think about at this point, I'd like to divvy that up a little bit to where each one of us has certain roles or responsibilities in those areas. As a new topic comes up, we can discuss it and maybe make an assignment, kind of, so to speak, at that as it comes up. But, one person is doing the legwork basically and brings it back to the county court for update and. So if that's conducive.
We may want to look at the list of all the,
Do you still have
Committees.
that?
I have the old list somewhere.
Maybe we could try to update that list and then.
Did I ever send that to?
I think you gave me a
ever?
copy of it at one
At least then I
time.
know how far back.
Yeah,
I don't remember who I sent it to or how, but I compiled that just,
I think when I came.
Years
on the
ago,
board, I know
it was
you
already
had it
there.
Compiled.
and that listed both at the local and any of the state levels. And if it turns out, for instance, that you're shouldering too much and you want to hand something over and I've got, you know, like I used to be on something that now I'm not on anymore locally because it changed in its nature. Things like that, you know, to share the workload or the burden.
Well, even the budget officer position, there's nothing that says that the county judge has to be that role. I'm kind of welcoming it this year because it's a learning process and I want to go through that and learn it. I do.
But it's not required. to
You
be-
can
so
hire a
next year-
contractor from out of area. I mean, it doesn't have to be,
Some places.
the county
there's
judge.
Supplemental contract with the treasurer, you know, it's done in a variety of
Yeah.
ways. in other towns, so.
So there's a lot of ways that we can share different things or rotate responsibilities or whatever.
Yeah, we'll continue that
Yep.
as you
Yep.
see more.
So, I don't have anything else. I think we were gonna recess and re-adjourn at 1:30 for executive session.
right.
So it is 11:48. County Court will recess until 1:30.
Thank you.
Which was three of you about broadband.
Pardon me? I've got a Zoom meeting at noon. Can you call?